Good morning and welcome to Ask Kinze webinar focusing on the 5900 model planner this morning. So thanks for joining us. As we kind of get rolling here, we'll kind of go through the agenda a little bit here in a second. As always, we're always willing to answer questions as we go through the presentation today. So if you have questions, feel free to type those in the chat. I know we have a question already in there, and we'll catch that one towards the end as we kind of get wrapped up. But depending on where we're at and what the question is, we'll try and field those questions as they come in. So as we go through the presentation, feel free to type those in the chat. Be more than happy to answer them as we go through today. So as we talked about, 5900 model planner is kind of our focus for today. We're going to spend time walking through the model lineup, kind of what options we have, configurations, talk about features and options as well. We'll talk a little bit about fertilizer. We'll kind of touch on some row unit stuff, kind of keep those a little higher level. And then we'll kind of end up just doing a quick walk around of the 24 row planner 5900 we have here today. And again, be free, more than happy to answer questions as we kind of walk through. If you guys don't know me already, my name's Brad Nienstead. I'm a product specialist here at Kinze, working on 19 years with the company, and excited here to talk about 5900 and really anything Kinze related as we walk through the day today. So 5900 planner is, again, specific to and it's taken place of our 4905 series machine. So, of course, Kinze's model configurations are always directly related to the series of row unit that we utilize. So, of course, a 3605, for example, would be a 3000 series row unit. We had 4905 for several years, and now we transition to the 5000 series and the 5900 model lineup. The 5000 series, of course, talks about a 5000 series row unit. We'll dive into a little bit about that here in a second. Of course, all of our 5000 series planners are all Blue Vantage and Blue Drive only. So only electric drive configurations, which of course supports both of our electric drive meter options. So both our what we call standard speed true rate and of course our high speed true speed meter as well. We of course support our true depth hydraulic downforce and pneumatic down pressure as well from a downforce option. Let's kind of walk through the lineup. All right, so 5900 of course is a front fold machine. Of course, the wheels are on the rear of the toolbar and is a 30-inch only configuration. So we take, for example, our largest frame in that size is, of course, our 24 row 30, which is the one sitting behind us. Provides twin 60 bushel tanks, so 120 bushel seed capacity. As we talk about some options and configurations on all 5000 series planners, bulk fill scales are standard equipment. All right, so as part of the bulk fill package, you get bulk fill scales, and we'll talk a little bit about those as we go through as well. From a fertilizer option standpoint, we'll dive into the new 5000 series fertilizer a little bit. Fertilizer capacities on the 24 row are just a little bit different depending on options and configuration. So as you see on the screen, with fertilizer openers, and the one behind me is equipped with our fertilizer openers, 500 gallons of onboard liquid fertilizer with fertilizer openers. Once you go to no fertilizer configuration or no fertilizer opener configuration, if you're utilizing in-furrow drop tubes or our rear drop tubes, which we'll talk about in a second as well, you get up to 750 gallons of liquid fertilizer. So just the openers factor into that, really just from a sheer weight standpoint. With the openers, 750 gallons of liquid, just a little bit over that weight range, so we just downsize it to 500 gallons. Unique on the 5924 row is the industry exclusive flip axle. All right, so the only one in the industry that has this feature. We've had it really since we came out with this style of toolbar frame back in 2014. The big change, of course, with the flip axle is when you're going into the transport position, that axle physically flips ahead 3.5 feet. So if you look at the picture on the screen, we of course have the planting position, which you can see the wheels are on the back, of course, to normal raise and lower. Once you fold that toolbar around and go into the transport position, we actually flip that axle so it comes all the way ahead, again, that 3.5 feet. Provides, again, shorter turning radius, a little better balanced toolbar, especially going down the road, so taking a little bit of the hitch weight off the tractor itself, and by far just a more maneuverable 60-foot toolbar. So shorten it up, make it easy to maneuver. This is on the 60-foot toolbar only with the flip axle, but it is standard on all 60-foot toolbars as well. So industry exclusive feature with that flip axle design. You'll notice also, go back one slide and we'll kind of again touch on it as we do the walk around. All of the 24-row sizes in model year 26 come with VF style tires as well. So again, just better, durable, better solution from the tire size instead of having bias tires on that large toolbar frame. So VF tires, standard equipment. So 60-foot configuration, of course, we also offer it 16-row 30. Very similar design. Of course, we utilize and step the bulk seed down slightly to 80 bushels of capacity. Again, two 40-bushel tanks. Really, the big reason we've lowered the seed capacity down to twin 40-bushel tanks is so we can increase the fertilizer capacity. So on all 5000 series, 5900 models, we utilize 500 gallons of fertilizer. And that does not change whether you have fertilizer openers, in-furrow tubes, or your choice of fertilizer, it's the same. So 80 bushel capacity, 500 gallons of liquid fertilizer is standard equipment no matter the configuration. So that's the 16-row 30. We get to the 12-row 30 configuration that we also offer. Again, 80 bushels of seed capacity, so twin 40-bushel tanks. We have 400 gallons of liquid fertilizer, as you see in the picture here. So again, same fertilizer capacity, whether you have openers or other fertilizer application methods as a whole. So 24-row, 16, 12-row configurations, different seed capacities based on frame size. And again, the only fertilizer difference, again, is on that 60-foot frame when you get to the fertilizer openers to drop down to 500 gallons. Again, they all come standard with bulk fill scales and a multitude of other features, which again we'll highlight as we get into the walk-around portion of today's program. So looking at standard features, and when we introduced the 5000 series several years ago, we wanted to provide a lot of standard things right out of the box. So you don't have to keep adding things on it and looking at what options we have available. So first of all, again, we talked about it earlier, the 5000 series is an electric drive only machine. So it only comes in electric drive with Blue Drive and Blue Vantage. Of course, it comes with a 5000 series row unit. We'll dive into that here in a little bit. Again, Blue Drive, Blue Vantage, it's bulk seed only. Okay, so bulk tanks only in the mix. It, of course, is a 3-section frame. It comes with 42 degrees of wing flex. So again, lots of flexibility to handle a lot of terrain. We also introduced, really in the late 05 series range, when we went and it's carried over to the 5000 series, is the active hydraulic weight transfer system. So Kinze's had weight transfer really since 2009. All right, we kind of pioneered and introduced that feature. We've taken it one step farther, though, with our active hydraulic weight transfer. Well, what does that mean to be active? We talked earlier again that the bulk fill tanks have standard bulk fill scales. All right, and of course, we're taking hydraulic pressure and forcing weight out to the wings to help eliminate pinch row compaction on the center of these larger frames. Active weight transfer, instead of just being a set pressure all the time, we look at the weight or how much seed is in the seed tanks and actually increase the weight transfer or the amount of hydraulic pressure to the wings when the tanks are full versus when the tanks are empty to, again, put more weight out to the wings to, again, help alleviate pinch row compaction in the center of the toolbar. This is a standard, again, standard equipment piece. You don't have to do anything. The system does that automatically in the Blue Vantage display. So a nice feature. Again, we'll show where that cylinder is and what that looks like as we get into the walk around as well. We also have one rear-facing camera integrated into the Blue Vantage display as standard equipment as well. So the ability to see behind you, of course, when you're going down the road, if somebody's trying to pass you, backing up to the seed tender, all those type of things. The benefit of having that one rear-facing camera. Standard equipment. We support up to 4 cameras total, so you can add up to 3 more if you so choose. So with that one rear-facing camera being standard equipment, all of the wiring, harnesses, etc. are already there to easily add the other 3 if you so choose. High transport clearance, again, making sure that the row units are tall enough when you're going down the road or into driveways. Again, on the 60-foot bar with that dedicated flip axle really ensures that you have good row unit clearance when you're going down the road. Spoke gauge wheels with gauge wheel mud scrapers. Again, standard equipment. We'll touch on that a little more as we get into the row unit piece here in a second. All 5900 model planters come standard with the variable displacement PTO hydraulic pump. We'll talk again about that as we go through the walk around. The best part about having that PTO pump is you don't have to have a high flow tractor. You don't have to have a new tractor to run the most advanced corn planter in the market. That PTO pump runs all of the functions on the planter. So alternator, fans, true depth, bulk fill, hydraulically driven compressor for residue wheels, all those type of things, all integrated into that PTO pump. So if you have enough horsepower to run or pull the planter, you can run the planter, and you don't have to worry about how you option it from a hydraulic requirement standpoint, because the PTO pump is going to take all those requirements away. You don't have to worry about K-strain lines and which way you flip the hydraulic remote and all those other items that come when you have a lot of hoses to plug in. It's very simple, easy. Turn the PTO on, you're ready to go and plant. So we'll talk again a little bit more about that once we get into it. Of course, LED work lights are standard equipment. And of course, on any Blue Drive equipped planter is a 2-year warranty. So we always say it's covered for 2 years, hitch pin to tail wheel for 2 years from the time you purchase it. So again, provide that comfort factor, and again, make sure everything's covered if you do run into any issues as you get into spring planting. So a lot of standard features, again, right out of the box. Don't have to add a lot of things to the planter, again, with all that standard items on our 5000 series. We do have a couple different hitch options as well. So of course, the 2-point hitch, which is on the left-hand side of your screen, again, for 2-point hitch applications. All right, again, it's a swivel, own shipping stand or own storage stands, etc., built into that 2-point hitch. We also offer a drawbar hitch. Again, for those that are utilizing bareback tractors that don't have a 2-point option, we also offer a drawbar. You can convert or change from a 2-point to a drawbar or a drawbar to a 2-point at any time. So it's an easy changeover between it. Again, a lot of guys ask, is there any benefit for one hitch over the other? Really, it just boils down to what your tractor has, obviously, for a hitch option. You don't get any more lift height or anything of that nature from one hitch over another. So, of course, the drawbar hitch, a little more expensive because it has its own telescoping cylinder inside that hitch, of course, to raise the front of that planter up for transport. But again, no benefit of one over the other as a whole. We talked about the 42 degrees of wing flex, and I realize this is probably a pretty extreme picture. Hopefully, not a lot of you guys have to deal with that kind of terrain, but I realize there's some that do in your type of conditions and terrain, etc., just to show you truly what that toolbar can do to max out that wing flex. So this is, of course, just right behind the plant here in Williamsburg. And again, just to highlight and show you the great flexibility that that toolbar can provide to you to, again, ensure that we're hugging the ground, making sure we're getting your seed in the ground, and of course, making sure we achieve that correct depth as well. So just kind of a neat picture to show what that toolbar is physically capable of. And of course, 60-foot toolbar makes it even more impressive as a whole. So we talked about active hydraulic weight transfer, and this is kind of just a good illustration of truly what is going on, all right, in the toolbar, all right. And I realize the picture you have in here is one of our lift and pivot style of frames, but it's the same, whether it's a front fold, lift and pivot, it doesn't matter. The system works the same. So again, if we go back and we watch how it starts, if you look at the weight transfer, the transferred weight on the wings versus the amount of seed in the center, you'll notice that we take weight off the wings as the amount of seed goes down. Now, we never take all the weight off. There's always weight transfer out to the wings, no matter the amount of seed in the tank. So it's not like we take it away. We just reduce that amount of pressure, again, just based on the tank weight, so we can, again, help with pinch row compaction. This is an automatic feature. It's on all of our 5000 series planters. And again, one of those standard items that come again with that bulk fill scale feature as well. So again, industry exclusive on the automatic transfer of weight. Again, another picture just showing you what that active weight transfer system is doing. So of course, we're pushing weight out to the wings, and I'll show you where that cylinder is on this toolbar when we go through the walk around. But we're pushing weight out to the wings, again, alleviating some of that weight in the center to help with pinch row compaction. So again, pinch rows isn't anything new. Ever since really bulk fill planters have been introduced, it's always been an item. We combated that with weight transfer in 2009, just being a set pressure. And then we just taken it one step farther to make it adjustable. So again, when your seed is full, obviously more weight in the center, putting more weight out to the wings to help alleviate that weight transfer and pinch rows in the center. Not only is it active, and again, based off your tank weight, but we also allow you the ability to change how aggressive that weight transfer system is. So on that lower part, this is a picture from our Blue Vantage display. At the bottom of that screen, you can see where it says weight transfer. You can see there's a PSI readout, and then of course there's 3 settings: minimum, medium, maximum. So any planter that has active weight transfer has this capability to adjust the aggressiveness. So a lot of guys ask, when the heck would I adjust the aggressiveness? Why wouldn't I just leave it at maximum all the time? I would tell you for majority of the applications, you probably would. Leave it at maximum. You always want the most weight pushed out to the wings to help alleviate pinch rows in the center. A 60-foot toolbar is a really good example. You have 2 big tires out on the wings, again, to support that weight. Really, this adjustment really comes into if you're in super mellow conditions, you have a smaller frame toolbar, so maybe a 12 or a 16 row, where if that ground is really mellow, especially you pick up on the ends and you're turning, or really just going through the field, that extra weight transfer can be a little more aggressive and maybe pushes that lower tire in on the outside when you're turning on the ends, backing in the corners, all those type of things. You can adjust how aggressive or how much that weight transfer is applying to the wings. It gives you the pressure readout, and you can see maximum is at 100%. Medium is basically 66% of that maximum, and then minimum is only 33% of the total. So it's just backing down the curve, if you will, to not make it as aggressive based on your seed tank weight. So really, this just gives you the ability to fine tune it for your application and your ground conditions. Again, just to fine tune it and ensure you're doing the best job you can when you're planting through the field. So 5000 series row unit, we kind of talked about the toolbars, layouts, frame sizes, etc. Kind of dig into the meat and potatoes of the row unit that we hang on these 5000 series planters. So again, we talked about a lot of the standard features. All right, our 5000 series row unit is redesigned, and as you can see in this picture, different than having the stamped steel side panels on the side. We've gone to plastic style side panels and a different mini hopper lid. Make it more ergonomic, a little better looking. Again, spoke gauge wheels, standard equipment. We have gauge wheel mud scrapers as well on those wheels to help alleviate any soil buildup on them. We can still continue with our 12 inches of row unit travel. So again, all of our 5000 series planters utilize 24 inches of under toolbar height. All right, so again, 12 inches of travel, 24 inches of under toolbar height, so you can really see what the row unit is doing, and of course gives you more flexibility to follow the contours, of course, in field conditions, kind of going back to that picture we saw utilizing that wing flex. We still support insecticide as well. You can see this picture here utilizing electric drive insecticide. And we also have provided a seed corn hopper and a plot hopper for these applications. So the seed corn hopper, which is the picture here, again, mainly designed really based on feedback from you guys, is we have a lot of guys that, of course, are planting seed corn with these planters. So the seed corn hopper, which is approximately a 0.8 bushel capacity hopper, it's used with both true rate and true speed meters. So no matter your meter option, you do have a seed corn hopper solution. It fits onto existing row units. Obviously, you can see it installed on a row unit here in the picture. Again, mainly used in that seed corn application, but we have a lot of guys that want to plant really long plot applications. This would provide that solution to provide a little more capacity for large length plots as well. So can fit on, again, existing row unit, seed corn hopper, 0.8 bushel capacity. We also offer a plot hopper extension as well, specifically for planting plots, and supports the plot bag size. So this little guy, about a 0.1 bushel capacity, it slides right onto the existing mini hopper lid itself. So really you remove the slide door on top of that mini hopper, put this mini hopper on top of it, slide it on, and you're ready to go, all right, to give you that increased capacity for plots. You can leave this hopper on all the time if you so choose. So once you put it on, you want to leave it on for the season, you can do that too, but it easily slid on and slid off, again, the existing mini hopper lid. So again, just make you aware of that plot hopper extension for you guys that are planting plots as a whole. What have we changed on the row unit and how it attaches to the row unit really starts with the faceplate itself. So the 5000 series row unit, we've increased the faceplate strength over our 4000 series over 45%. So the faceplate itself is a lot stronger. We've continued on with our double bushing parallel arms. So you can see in the screen here, we use bushing in a bushing design in our parallel arms. So this carries over from our 05 series planters. We've increased the size of the parallel arms and continue on with that double bushing. Of course, the pressed in bushing, the larger one on your screen here, of course, is pressed into the parallel arm. You then have the smaller bushing inside of it, which is really your sacrificial part. It's 25% larger bushing than the older generation single bushing design, so it over doubles the life of your parallel arm bushing compared to the single bushing that we've had for a long time. So just a more durable, longer life bushing design, larger parallel arms. We've increased the size and durability of the lower parallel arm as well. We've gone to a fully cast lower arm, which we've had on the 4000 series, but have added reinforcement ribs and fully boxed in that lower frame. You can kind of see it in the lower picture or lower part of this picture here on the screen, but have fully boxed it in. Again, made it more durable for high speed, high downforce applications as well. Of course, we support true depth hydraulic downforce. Again, Kinze's designed hydraulic downforce. Downforce is all row by row control, provides up to 650 pounds of downforce and up to 150 pounds of uplift. So row by row control, 650 down, 150 up. And we do that with utilizing one single valve per row. So really tried and simplified the layout of hydraulic downforce, the design of our cylinder, which we use a large diameter rod for our cylinder design, and a very small barrel in relationship to the rod of that cylinder. So we basically take hydraulic pressure and put it on the rod end of the cylinder all the time to create 150 pounds of uplift. Then we use the single valve to overcome the 150 and put up to 650 down on that row unit. So it's a very simple hydraulic layout, a very simple system, only utilizing one valve. So less chance for failed components, and again, a lot cleaner toolbar design as well on the true depth side. Of course, we offer pneumatic down pressure as well as an option. Again, just a closed loop, single set downforce when it comes to pneumatic down pressure as well. So two downforce options on the 5000 series. We continued on again with something from our 05 series where we've gone to double bearing disc opener blades. Okay, so we've gone to double bearings, we've gone to a machine style hub on that disc blade, and have also increased the rivet size on those hubs as well. So provides really a better, truer running blade, a more durable blade, again with the double bearings, and really allows the disc blade to be wore out well before the bearing will wear out instead. So just a more durable, longer life blade. Again, something that's carried over from our 05 series planters before. We have changed the outer scraper on the disc opener blade, again, to go to a spring-loaded version. It's a lot heavier, thicker material also to, again, get double the life out of that outer scraper compared to the old spring steel style that we've had for a long, long time. So again, trying to provide longer service intervals with wear components on this 5000 series row unit. So we've gone to spring-loaded outer scrapers as well. We talked about spoke gauge wheels already, and again, you can see the gauge wheel mud scraper right above the tire here in that upper right corner of the picture. Again, standard equipment, this is how it comes. We do offer solid gauge wheels for those guys that would rather have solid gauge wheels over spoke wheels. So we give you the option, but kind of base-wise, spoke gauge wheel is kind of the most requested one as a whole. The biggest change, and again, trying to provide more uptime for you guys in the field, is we've gone to shimless, greaseless gauge wheel arms. Okay, so in the photo or in the video, I'll play it again so you can kind of see what that guy looks like. You notice that in that gauge wheel arm pivot, you can see the blue bushing inside of it. And then you can see the two green seals on each side of that blue bushing. So the blue part is the fiber bushing. The green lines on either side are dust and dirt seals. Okay, so really the change happens with the actual gauge wheel arm shaft itself. So that gauge wheel arm shaft is double the diameter of the older generation gauge wheel arm shaft, so larger surface area to wear on. The blue part being that Teflon infused bushing eliminates the need for grease. So with the Teflon infused in that fiber bushing, them several, let's say 20, 30 acres knew that first season, as you get out there, that Teflon actually starts to infuse itself onto the gauge wheel arm shaft. You then start to have Teflon on Teflon building on itself, and again, significantly increases the life of these bushings. So compared to the greasable ones, you're looking at 2.5 times the life expectancy out of these bushings compared to the old grease style. And more importantly, you don't have to grease it every day. So taking those daily grease zerks off of the row unit as a whole. If you look just to the right where you have the clevis pin and the shouldered castle nut, all right? So if I play it one more time to see the video, you'll notice you remove the pin, rotate that shouldered castle nut to move that gauge wheel in and out. So the gauge wheel pivot is never riding on any threads to wear out. It's purely riding on that bushing. The threads on the outside for this shoulder castle nut allow you to adjust your gauge wheel in and out. So at the end of the season, or you're doing maintenance during the wintertime and you're trying to adjust the gauge wheel clearance to the outside of your disc opener blade, you merely pull this retainer pin, rotate that shoulder castle nut. One revolution is approximately the thickness of one of those old shims, and it of course moves that wheel closer to your disc opener blade. So adjusting gauge wheel arms are really now a couple minute thing instead of maybe 10, 20 minutes at a time where you're moving shims and grease all over your hands and all those type of things. So really try to eliminate that headache and make it simpler and easier in the field. One thing I'd be remiss to not mention, if you're looking at the picture where the shoulder castle nut is, you can kind of see this little white piece right here. And on the outside, it's a little darker piece. Those are UHMW pads on each side of that shoulder nut. That way, if something would happen where, let's say the gauge wheel arm got doused in fertilizer, it's not going to lock up that adjustment. All right, them UHMW pads keep that shoulder nut free. So again, it doesn't freeze up. So again, you can continue to adjust it. So if you take a 24-row planter, for example, like the one behind us, when you go to the 5000 series row unit, you take away 48 daily grease zerks off the row unit. But not only have we added shims or the fiber bushings to the gauge wheel arms, but all of the markers on 5000 series are also fiber bushings as well. So you do not have to grease markers anymore either. So we're talking well over 80 daily grease zerks we've taken off the planter that you don't have to worry about every day. So really streamline that maintenance piece. Again, just kind of a close-up picture of everything together on the shimless side, and we kind of touched on that already, getting rid of the shims. The other thing I'd want to touch on as well, but the gauge wheel arm pocket. So the pocket at the top, that of course what we call the dog bone here, your depth adjuster goes in to physically set the depth. Obviously a wear item, as those are setting the depth of the row unit. We've increased the thickness, hardness, and durability of that gauge wheel arm pocket as well. So it is significantly larger than the older generation gauge wheel arms as well. So again, just providing longer life to that whole row unit and specific the gauge wheel arm. Of course, we continue on as we get to the back to talk about manual adjust closing wheels. Again, still the 4-notch design. Really the biggest change we've made here is this is now a cast iron closing wheel arm. Okay, so it's no longer the robotically welded version. It's a cast iron one. We've actually added rear mounting holes for rear fertilizer drop tubes in this new casting. Again, just to provide a more durable closing wheel arm in harsh condition, rocky conditions, those type of things as well. We still continue on with our bushing replacement in the closing wheel arms. So as things wear, you don't have to replace the arm. You simply replace the bushings in the arm itself. You got a whole new closing wheel arm as a whole. So that hasn't changed. We continue on with that same setup. We also have, with the 5000 series, introduced air adjustable closing wheels. So of course, instead of using the mechanical spring notch setting like we just saw, you have the ability to adjust it from the cab in Blue Vantage, different settings. Okay, and of course, pneumatic, you have a lot more adjustment than you do with the 4 notches. On the mechanical side, you also have the ability to put more closing wheel pressure down with the pneumatic ones as well. So got a couple advantages there of the pneumatic over the standard 4-notch closing wheel system. All integrated into the Blue Vantage display, of course. So all those adjustments run through the display. We had made a change, or have made a change on the 5000 series to help you in the field with section control adjustment and validation, checking depth, seed spacing, etc. And we provide a quick flip up closing wheel arm. And this is on both the mechanical layout and the pneumatic configuration as well. So the picture we have here is in its, of course, planting position. The next slide you can see here, it is locked up, right? So it pivots backwards. This front hole here, of course, is where it rides majority of the time in field position. You can quickly remove that pin, rotate this whole closing wheel tail up, put the cross pin in to lock it up out of the way. And now you have the ability to have an open seed trench and check spacing and depth and section control adjustment quicker than physically trying to, of course, dig into the ground, right? So just make it simpler, easier. And again, this feature is for both mechanical or air adjust closing wheels. Front attachments on our 5900 model, we of course offer air adjust residue wheels. The Yetter configuration, so the 2940 version of faceplate mounteds, like you see in the top, or the Coulter combo version below. So those are the two factory options. But we realize a lot of guys want their own or prefer maybe a different brand of residue wheel. So we also offer an air adjust only control package as an option on our 5000 series and 5900 model planners. The air adjust only package gets you the hydraulically driven compressor, the control system, and basically we run all of the air lines to the faceplate of the row unit, and then that allows you to choose whatever row cleaner you want. So if you want a Martin or you want to run a clean sweep or something of that nature, you can certainly do that, but still have the ability to adjust and control it through the Blue Vantage display. So allow you some flexibility there. We realize, not one option fits everybody. So that controls only package allows you that flexibility. Again, integration with Blue Vantage, anything we talk about on our 5000 series planners is of course integrated into the Blue Vantage display. So markers, fold, fans, anything on that planner runs through Blue Vantage. A couple changes we made for this coming season. So I realize you might have some guys on the call today that maybe have a 4905 or a 4900. Some changes we made with that PTO pump layout. As we've increased and changed hose retainers to help keep the hoses out of harm's way, make it easier to rotate that pump onto the tractor, etc. So on a drawbar hitch option, this is just kind of what it looks like. Just helps, again, retain those hoses closer to the hitch, helps support them, and of course supports them with that hose, the spring and strap design on this style of toolbar. There's kits available to retro this back on older planners as well, but just want to show you what it looks like on a drawbar hitch. We also have made changes on the 2-point hitch as well, again providing this vertical stand, springs, straps, etc. To help, again, alleviate the stress on those hoses, make it easier to hook up as well, and again can be retrofitted backwards as well. So again, some minor changes we added to the front of that planner, make it easy, help you out in the field. Shift gears to talk about 5000 series liquid fertilizer, all right, and to kind of talk about some of the differences. So with the 5000 series, some big things, really requests from you as a farmer was we changed and made a change in the pump where we now utilize a diaphragm style pump. Okay, you guys needed a more reliable pump, a pump that would help support larger rate ranges. So we went to a diaphragm pump that can run dry for well over 10 minutes and not create any damage to the pump. This pump also allows us to pull from auxiliary tanks. So if you're running saddle tanks on the tractor or you're pulling a trailer hitch, this system allows you to select, when you order a planner, factory installed auxiliary plumbing, so everything's out of harm's way. You can just simply connect your auxiliary tanks to the factory layout and pull from those tanks to, again, get you longer fill times. It supports application rates from 2 to 25 gallons an acre from speeds of 3 to 12 miles an hour. So one system will cover all this rate range. We can actually get up to 30 gallons an acre maximum. We just can't drive 12 miles an hour. So you slow down a little bit, we can get you up to 30 gallons an acre with the same system. All right, so very universal and supports a wide rate range of application. The other thing we've done too is have the pump be pressure and flow compensated. So we still utilize orifices at the row, all right, to of course set the rate. But previously, your rate range was only this big, okay? When we go to a pressure and flow compensated pump, we can speed up and slow down the pump because we know the orifice you're using, the rate, travel speed, etc., to double the rate range on a per orifice basis. So allow you to, again, put several different rates down without having to make a lot of changes in that orifice selection. So again, make it easy on you in the field. We've gone away from really what I would call standard turbine style flow meters. We now utilize an electromagnetic flow meter, so there's no turbine to wear out. So again, providing a longer, more durable flow meter. The system does provide agitation during operation, okay? So as soon as you turn the pump on, we're recirculating and agitating that fertilizer. As you're going through the field, that agitation goes down, all right, because some of it's based on how much flow or backflow we have versus what's going out to the actual row units, but it's always agitating fertilizer, all right? So as soon as you turn the pump on, it's going to start agitating that fertilizer. For you guys that, of course, utilize a fertilizer system that needs some agitation. Of course, the pump's rebuildable. The hydraulic PTO pump runs that diaphragm pump. So again, if you have fertilizer, your hydraulic requirement from the tractor doesn't change. And it's the same pump style used on all 5000 series. So no matter the model, it's the same pump design. So we provided wider range support. We now support auxiliary tanks with this style of system. We have better row-by-row flow indicators as well to let you know if the fertilizer is flowing or not flowing. And we now support 2 products, all right, as factory installed. So when we talk about the flow switch at the row unit, so all of our fertilizer, just like our seed, is controlled row by row. All right, so this new style of flow switch helps support all those rate ranges. Okay, we still utilize shutoff valve here, but this is a lot more compact flow switch and flow indicator. So we utilize the shutoff valve here, and then in this top part, which looks like a threaded cap on the end, is where the new paddle design lives. So if we kind of break that guy down, this fertilizer flow switch is smaller. It's easier to clean if you have very tacky fertilizer, or again, you're cleaning it out at the end of the season. You can disassemble everything without having any tools or needing any tools. But underneath that cap, you can see this wheel flow sensor. All right, so when that fertilizer's coming in, it's spinning that pinwheel. You can see the 2 stainless steel balls on the top of that pinwheel that cap is reading. So again, as fertilizer flows, that spins, the cap reads it and says, hey, everything's flowing. All right, so a good indicator to let you know if fertilizer stops or there's a blockage or something of that nature. And again, a lot more reliable, especially at lower fertilizer rates as well. So new style flow switch, same flow switch on all 5000 series planters. How do we know what orifice to use? We tried to make that easy as well by providing you, again, this is a picture from the Blue Vantage display, an interactive orifice chart. So this allows you to set your parameters of gallons per acre, travel speed, and we will tell you what orifice you should be using in those applications. So it takes the guesswork out of it, lets you know how to set up your flow switches and all those type of things in the display. So make it easy for you if you're a veteran user or even a new user to fertilizer. This really eliminates a lot of that headache in the field and getting it set up correctly. If 1 is good, 2 has to be better. And again, feedback from you guys is we really need 2 products factory installed on 5900 model planters. We now offer that for model year 26. So it's available on all 5900 configurations, so 24, 16, and 12 row. enables 2 products to be applied. And really, we're just taking double of that single product setup and adding it to the rear of the planter. So, you can see the diaphragm pump in the upper right-hand corner, flow meters, control valves, etc., is all just bolted back on the catwalk, nice and neat. The first product, or one of the products, will of course pull from auxiliary tanks on the planter itself. So the main tank will provide fertilizer for one. The second product will pull from an auxiliary tank of your choosing. So whether it's fertilizer on the tractor or a rear trailer hitch, you decide. We factory plumb it, and again, allows you just to connect right to that. And then your second product, fertilizer, will simply pull from those tanks. So it makes it very easy to provide a second product, factory installed, all controlled through the Blue Vantage. It's all section controlled. We use the same fertilizer flow switches, all those type of things. Again, to make it easy on you in the field. 2 products or single product, what options do we apply fertilizer with? We support a fertilizer drop tube, so this stainless steel tube that drops right behind the seed tube is an option for in-row applications. We also offer new for this year the rear fertilizer drop tube like you see here. So for a dual placement, that is new that we offer as a factory option. We also offer 2x2 fertilizer openers. So the 5900 behind me utilizes or has these as an attachment. It's a true 2x2 opener. It has quick opener downforce adjustment, so you can kind of see the spring set up right behind the blade and the gauge wheel in this picture. It allows you to adjust it quickly based on ground conditions, and you can manually adjust the spring to change how much force is in those positions as well. So really allows you to dial the downforce in. Of course, it utilizes a notch blade with a true gauge wheel on it as well to keep that fertilizer depth consistent. It provides a quick adjust depth setting as well. So it's a little bit hard to see, but kind of on the back part of the gauge wheel, there's a little cam adjustment down there that you can quickly adjust the depth of the fertilizer opener as well to really allow you to fine tune it for your applications. This opener is specific to the 5900. Again, for folding clearances and all those type of things, it's specifically made for 5900. So we kind of get full circle, right? And we get all the way through options and attachments. So Zach, the guy behind the screen, if you will, is helping me out today. Do we have some questions?
We do have questions.
Okay.
We have some questions here regarding true speed and true rate and some of the seed tubes. So
okay,
we'll address these here quickly. And then we also have some questions regarding Blue Vantage and then one about transporting planters to the dealerships. And we'll save those for the end for the final Q&A.
Sounds good.
The first question, my friend said that he had to drain the manifold with a 5-gallon bucket on his planter after the seed tubes got plugged up. Is this a common issue?
So read that to me one more time.
My friend said that he had to drain the manifold with a 5-gallon bucket on his after the seed tubes got plugged up. Is this a common issue?
So I don't know if we're talking, it sounds like fertilizer and seed might be different on this one, but I'll kind of address both just to kind of cover both. And if it's not the right answer, by all means, type something in and we can certainly clarify. So fertilizer drop tubes, all right? So let's say for some reason they got damaged, or heaven forbid we backed up or something of that nature and we had those fertilizer lines plugged. Once the fertilizer system is off, okay, so you raise the planter, you're in a previously planted area, that shutoff valve is going to stop. The only fertilizer that would be in the tubes or hoses would, of course, be everything from the manifold down to that tube, so there's not a lot in there. Of course, whenever you disconnect it, air's going to let it fall out. You can disconnect it at the manifold or down at the fertilizer drop tube because we use quick disconnects for those fertilizer hoses. So in that case, yeah, maybe have to empty that fertilizer into a bucket or a tank, etc. If the delivery tube, so if we shift gears a little bit and we talk delivery tube, if something would happen to it, again, we go through a muddy condition, we back up when the planter is down, etc. The tube is easily to disassemble, all right? And there's, again, several YouTube videos talking through the disassembly of True Speed meter. It's very easy, very quick. I can speak from experience of making that whoops, of going back instead of forward and having to clean out delivery tubes. It's honestly a lot more, it's never enjoyable, don't get me wrong, but a lot easier on a True Speed because you can take that whole delivery tube out, easily take it apart, clean out the bottom of that belt, and get back and running quickly. So pretty quick and simple to do that on both sides. Yep.
Okay, our next question. What is an acceptable variation of population with the true rate meter on a per row basis? I am seeing 2,000 to 3,000 fluctuate on some rows, and does the true speed have the same variation?
Okay. Honestly, I would expect 1,000 seed, 1,000, 1,500 variability from row to row. And of course, some of that's based on seed sensor, how the seed's bouncing and coming down the delivery tube can affect how accurate that seed sensor is on a true rate, because of course we're dealing with a gravity drop tube. But 1,000, 1,500 specifically in corn, I would expect as the maximum difference between the two. A lot of variables, more variables on a true rate with, seal replacement, singulator adjustment, etc. That affects that. When you go to True Speed, different sensor technology, of course, because we're utilizing a belt delivery to take that seed from the meter down into the seed trench. Of course, that sensor has to know a flight versus a seed when that's going down. And of course, the singulation of that guy with the non-adjustable singulator and the design of the seed disc makes it a little easier to adjust because you're just adjusting the vacuum to maintain the accuracy of that seed meter. So it's a little easier. The sensor itself is, again, just a different technology. It has to be a lot better sensor technology in order to dictate a paddle versus a seed versus a paddle, especially as that increase in speed happens. So I can tell you that variation on the True Speed, in my opinion, is less. I would again expect it to be no different than 500 to 1,000 seeds row to row on True Speed as well. Again, a lot of variables in there with seed size, coatings, how you're treating the seed, and of course how it's delivering. But True Speed helps eliminate a lot of those variables when you compare it to True Rate as a whole. So, yep. Good for now. All right. So keep typing the questions in. Like Zach said, we'll catch up on some of those other ones as we get to the end. But just want to kind of do a quick walk around of the 5900 that we have behind us, this 24 row. Again, kind of highlight some of the things we've talked about and just kind of end up on the back. And then we'll come back here and answer the questions, kind of wrap up for the day. All right, so we're going to kind of start at the front and work our way backwards. As we talked earlier, both or have two hitch options. Of course, the 2-point hitch like you see here, or the drawbar hitch. And again, can switch either way at any time. There's not a big difference. The front of the hitch is exactly the same. Again, we talked about the standard variable displacement PTO pump. And again, this PTO pump is going to run all of the high hydraulic requirement features on a 5000 series planter. So this PTO pump, variable displacement, so it's going to change the output of hydraulics to the planter based on what the planter needs. Of course, it's going to run all the functions. So when you turn the PTO on, it's going to run the alternator, your vacuum fans, bulk fans, true depth hydraulic downforce, the hydraulically driven compressor for air adjust row cleaners. All of those features are all run through this PTO pump. So again, don't need a high flow tractor. If you got enough horsepower to pull it, you can option the planter however you choose. And again, have a great high-end corn planter no matter the options on it. So again, makes it a lot simpler and easy. It's self-contained. Okay, so of course it has its own cooling reservoir. It has its own cooling fan. The nice part about having it self-contained, if anything happens, it all stays on the planter side. The fan itself has the cooling capacity to cool all that oil that it's using. The fan actually has a built-in timer as well that will actually switch the direction of that cooling fan to pull air the other way to actually clean the radiator out for you. Automatically, it's just built into the system itself. So simple, easy, has its own layout, and again, self-contained as a whole, controls all the options on it. A lot of guys have asked, if I don't have fertilizer today and I want to add fertilizer later, does the pump I have on the planter have the ability to operate it? And the answer is yes. It's the same pump no matter how you option the planter. So if you want to add something down the road, you always have enough capacity to support it. We kind of work our way backwards down the toolbar itself. Of course, this one has fertilizer on it. This one is a dual product configuration. So we'll talk about dual product once we get to the back. But again, as we talked earlier, this one has, in the 60-foot toolbar size, has fertilizer openers on it. So we go to a 500-gallon fertilizer tank. If you don't have fertilizer openers on the 60-foot toolbar, it is a 750-gallon tank. 16 row, 500 gallons, 12 row, 400 gallons. Okay. One thing that's new though, and I kind of waited to talk about it till we got back here on the actual planter itself, but on the top of the fertilizer tank, we are utilizing a radar sensor. It's the same radar sensor we use on our 5670 model planters for automatic tank leveling, that we actually sense the level of the fertilizer tank. We tell you how many gallons are in the tank on the Blue Vantage display, and we also tell you acres to empty as well. So new thing for model year 26 liquid fertilizer, the ability to see and sense tank level and tell you acres to empty as well, so you know how much you have left to go. If I hop over the draft link here and talk about bulk fill, again, our bulk fill tanks, we talked about capacity earlier. Again, on the 60-foot toolbar, twin 60 bushel tanks, 16 and 12 row, twin 40 bushel tanks for 80 bushel capacity. Our entrainer, we made changes back in the 05 series. All right, so we enhanced our entrainer to support high-speed planting, be more reliable when we get into large seed sizes. All right, and we really just smoothed everything out inside this entrainer to support large seed, especially 68 and 70 pound flat type of stuff that the older generation entrainer sometimes struggled with to get it out to the row. So redesigned it in the 05 series, of course, is carried over to the 5000 series as well. One change we're making for model year 26, so this coming order period, or the order period that's open now, is we've changed the entrainer doors so they open backwards. So it's a lot easier to see and clean out instead of the doors going the other way. So we just kind of flipped them. Again, make it more ergonomic, easy in the field. We also have improved the tank clean out for our bulk fill tanks compared to older generations as well. And what we've done is inside this entrainer have added different wedges and kind of spacing configurations to help pull seed from the outside in, so there's less hung up on the ends. And again, when you run out of seed, you're less than one bag of seed left in the tank. So it cleans out a lot better, plants out a lot better as well. So again, alleviate that headache of having to open up another bag of seed or anything of that nature on the entrainer. Okay, we still utilize our clean out slide and design of the entrainer that we've always had. So of course, when you, or if something gets inside the bulk fill tank, all right, at the bottom on the entrainer, we still have our clean out slide, right? The entrainer is full of seed. If something fell into the entrainer, a bag tag, a chunk of seed treatment from the seed tender, or a paddle from the seed tender, something of that nature, you have this clean out slide that you can physically utilize, slide into the entrainer, locks off the seed, so then you can quickly open the doors, open and clean out that piece, part, whatever's in there, shut the doors quickly back up, pull your slide gate out, and then you get back planting. So just again, improved ergonomics, improve that entrainer for clean out. And as I said in the 05 series, introduced this new style entrainer that supports more seed sizes and more crops. So we can plant, sunflowers, milo, cotton, all those type of things with this new style entrainer. Okay. Again, on the bulk fill tanks, part of that standard equipment feature is the bulk fill scales. Okay, so scales are standard equipment. There's 3 load cells per tank. Each tank is weighed individually, and you have a separate readout on the catwalk as well as a readout inside the Blue Vantage display. And we'll talk about that readout kind of once we get all the way around. Okay. So with that bulk fill scale standard equipment, we talked about active hydraulic weight transfer. So on a 5900, at least on the 60-foot toolbar, this is the weight transfer cylinder. Of course, one on each side. It doesn't affect toolbar flex at all right? But again, active weight transfer, we're going to change the amount of pressure we're putting out to the wings based on how much seed is in that seed tank. So we adjust it. We've talked about that earlier. Adjust it based on seed tank weight, again, to help alleviate pinch row compaction, give you a little more flexibility and a little more active force out to the wings to give you, again, better stand, especially on the pinch row side of things. So weight transfer cylinders here. If we walk down the toolbar, I climb over top. I just want to stop here at this corner part as we talked about auxiliary fertilizer plumbing. And this planter, again, with dual product, utilizes the onboard tank, in this case for an in-furrow application. The second product is plumbed to use auxiliary tanks on the tractor. So this large black hose here, which again is all fitted all the way up to the hitch, is for that second product. So factory installed plumbing to connect to those saddle tanks on the tractor itself. We work kind of right down the toolbar itself. You'll notice again here a dual manifold stack here and a dual manifold stack here. Okay, so single product liquid fertilizer, you of course would have one manifold configuration. This one being a dual product setup, you just have another one of those behind it. They are easily labeled, so they're easy to identify which manifold is going to what row and which product. And you can see the layout of our fertilizer flow switches as well. So you can see the fertilizer flow switch. It's nice, compact. You have your shutoff valve, flow sensor, and then your orifice selector here, or where you would put in your orifice based on your fertilizer rate. So we keep it very common, very easy, so you can easily access that. If you're having issues or you need to change orifices, all those type of things, you go to one single location and do all those changes. Okay. Again, this one has the notch fertilizer openers on it as well. Again, dedicated design for the 5900. Again, true 2x2 opener, quick adjust downforce spring, and of course, quick adjust depth adjustment as well on this style of opener. I'd be remiss again just to talk about markers. We talked about shimless, greaseless gauge wheels. And again, I mentioned the fact that all of the markers on 5000 series are fiber bushing equipped, so there's no greasing marker arms. We continue to use the breakaway style and version on all 5000 series, our breakaway markers. And also we've shortened up the outside of that toolbar where that marker lives, so you can get a little bit closer to, of course, your neighbor's fence. That way you get the extra row of corn compared to older generation toolbars as well. So shortened it up, and especially if you don't have markers, you're just that much closer as well to the outside row. So really have gained almost a half a row closer to the fence row with the changes in the toolbar on the 5000 series as well. So kind of made it full circle. We came down, went down the toolbar, talked bulk fill, fertilizer, openers, markers. Going to walk around to the back side, talk about some dual product and some last few things on the rear of the planter. All right, so made it all the way to the back. Okay, and again, we talked earlier the fact that this planter is equipped with dual product fertilizer. So again, you guys have done a really nice job keeping it nice and compact in here for the second product. Again, same rate ranges, same fertilizer system. We just talked about the manifolds a second ago on their layout. So nice, clean, easy. Again, you can choose front auxiliary or rear auxiliary trailer hitch for that second product application, where you're getting the fertilizer for it. Again, 60-foot toolbar, utilize the flip axle design. So again, a little different geometry back here. With the flip axle, and really something we added to our 05 series, and again, just to highlight it, it's a common question I get asked as we talk about differences for maybe 4900 to 05 to 5000 series. Number one, when we went to the 05 series, we redesigned the lift system on the 5900 model planter to really cut the lift time in half. So basically what we've done with a fully loaded planter, even a 24 row, from field position to full raise turnaround, you're looking at 5 seconds, 5 to 6 seconds of lift time. So quicker to raise, again, higher speed planting. We need to get this thing out of the ground quicker so we can, of course, make our turn and get back and rolling. So part of that 05 series change, just change the lift circuit from our older 4000 series to enhance it, make it better, make it easier for you to run in the field. So we come back around to the top. Again, bulk fill scale, standard equipment. The small black display at the very top of this catwalk up here is the remote scale head. Again, shows you tank levels or tank weights, excuse me, on each one of the tanks. So you can easily fill it or split a pro box or whatever it may be. There's also a remote tank or fertilizer tank level indicator back here as well. So as you're filling it from the rear, you know how full the tank is, so you don't have to walk all the way around to the front. The other thing we've changed, and again, an ergonomic thing when it comes to filling fertilizer, with this new fertilizer pump compared to our older generation, you don't have to go under the tank and flip any levers to physically fill the fertilizer tank now. Really, you just hook up your tender, start pumping, and the tank is filling. All right, so it makes it easier. Again, been around with that older generation, it was always kind of a pain, just an extra step that we didn't need. So we kind of changed the layout and the plumbing, so you don't have to do that anymore. Again, make it easy on you in the field. The last thing we've added, again, more of an ergonomic, nice to have feature, but on the inside of the catwalk is a red button for the bulk fill fan. So if you're back here working on the planter, or you're filling the planter, and you need to go in and open the lids, and the fan is still running, you're like, oh, I don't want to walk all the way back up there to shut it off. There's a remote on-off switch back here for the bulk fill fan. So you press and hold it, the fan shuts off. You can then go up there, open the tank lids, fill, whatever you need to do, put the lids back on, and you can either turn it on back here before you walk back to the tractor, or you can turn it on again once you get to the display as well. So added some ergonomic features back here. Again, make it easy on you in the field, get you up and running quicker if you're running into issues or refilling or all those type of things in the field. So just kind of want to make my way all the way back around to the flip axle, show you what that dual product setup looks like. And again, it's the same on 12, 16, and 24 row configurations. Talk about the scale head, and of course, talk about that bulk fill on-off button as well. So with that, we'll walk back up to the desk, kind of get the rest of those questions answered that you guys have entered in there.
All right. Well, we have some questions. We've got quite a few to answer. So
Okay, great.
we'll head back to Frank's question that regarded the Blue Vantage.
Okay.
We had a cold, wet period after planting, resulting in a poor stand. We replanted the beans, adding an additional 70,000 into the existing stand. Would there have been a way to do this without renaming the field?
So Frank, thanks for waiting till the end. I know you put that in earlier. So So Blue Vantage, if you were to, in your case, you did a replant, you don't have to rename it. Really what you can do is if you enter or select the same grower, farm, and field again. So if I had a label of home farm, Brad's field, home field, or Brad's farm, home field, if you have already entered that once, if you select that same configuration again when you make a new task, it will just put a number 2 after those names and just say, hey, in this year of planting, you've planted that same layout twice. So that way you don't have to rename it. We just put a 2 after it. And if you planted, heaven forbid, have to do it a third time, entered the same name, it'll just put a 3 after it. So you don't have to rename it. Just select the same things, and we will just keep adding a number to the end. So it's the second, third, fourth time you've selected that grower, farm, and field for a task.
Our next question is from Chris. Is there any chance Kinze could look into adding some protection from road salt and dirt to the planters during shipping, shrink wrap row units, and other key components? Most planters ship in the winter time, and when they come, they are covered in road salt.
Yep. Yeah, Chris, that's something we fight a lot, especially being in the Midwest and being in Iowa. We've kind of gone both ways on the history of wrapped row units, if you will. And I guess, I've been here long enough to walk through, and we used to shrink wrap them as a whole. That's good and bad. I guess we've had good scenarios with it, and we've had poor scenarios with it, just from the simple fact that we've had road salt, etc., get stuck in the bags, and it actually makes it worse, especially if we don't take, or the dealer doesn't take the bags off right away, and it starts to get warm. That moisture and salt actually makes it worse than if it isn't bagged as a whole. So we try to do our best from a coating standpoint. We spend a lot of time on plating and coating for hardware. So we actually have a specific spec for our hardware that we use to help prevent that as much as possible. I don't know that there's an end-all, cure-all. We try to work with the dealers as best we can from a shipping standpoint to try to eliminate the shipping in those conditions. And the dealer can, of course, wait to get it. I realize sometimes there's not. It's just something we fight all the time. I don't have a good answer for you because we've kind of gone both ways on vacuum seal bags, if you will, as I used to call them, or not. So we've had good scenarios to not do that and scenarios too, but I'll take the feedback back for sure and see what else we can do to help prevent that from happening for sure. Thank you.
Our next question. Do you have an opinion on the hydraulic pump where it connects to the tractor to where you don't have to use a pump doctor to connect a tractor?
Sure. So the pump doctor solution is kind of one that we've gone to for a while as an option. I will tell you there is another pump mount manufacturer that has done a good job addressing maybe some of the issues that you've run into on the pump doctor side. It mounts a little differently. It's actually a company based here in Iowa. They're just south, not that far from the Kinze plant. A little different solution, a little different alignment practice. In my opinion, it's a little easier to use as well, and just a more rugged mount. Again, some of it depends a little bit on the tractor on the pump doctor side. But yes, there's another manufacturer here in Iowa. I believe it's agengineeringiowa.com is the website. But if you reach out to us, I can get you that direct contact information if you're looking at a different pump mount, just to provide a more robust solution. It's a little heavier, and he's a great guy to talk to. You can call and talk to him and just go through the differences and talk about how his is different, a little more serviceable, those type of things as well. So, yep, there's another option from a pump mount standpoint. You bet.
Our next question is from Steve. I just ordered a new 5670 and 5900, and the dealer said he cannot order the plot hoppers from the factory for them. Do you have to order them through parts?
Steve, first of all, thank you thank you for your order, and thanks for buying a Kinze planter. We appreciate your business by far. So the dealer's right where the plot hopper option isn't in what we call the whole goods or ordering the core planter. Those little part option pieces are ordered directly through parts. They are available today, so he can order them at any time for the unit. But those pieces, yes, those little guys are ordered specifically through parts. Yep. Thank you again for your business.
This is kind of a follow-up from Steve as well.
Okay.
On the 4905 True Speed, you had to be very careful when putting the hopper down and locking it in place, so that it was centered and lined up good with the speed tube. With these plastic hoppers, now will this be better, or over time will they wear out quicker and have a harder time keeping everything lined up?
Yep. So Steve, the nice part is when he went to the 5000 series row unit, it's dedicated just for electric drive. So we spent a lot of time on hose routing, hose and harnesses, both for true depth and the electrical side of it. There's been minor changes to delivery tube and the rail system that actually holds that delivery tube in there to ensure that those are more correctly aligned when that hopper comes down. So the hoppers themselves specifically designed for True Speed, and I realize they are on 4905 as well, but it's a little different because of the steel panel and just that design of the hopper. So the mini hoppers on these guys are totally different than the 4905, and we've made, again, geometry changes, improvements of all of that tolerance stack up, if you will, from the rail to the tube to the meter and how it all interacts to be a lot more consistent on the 5000 series. So, yep, we definitely have addressed several of those concerns to make it easy and ensure those guys align more correctly each time you rotate it down. You bet. Yep.
That's our last question.
Yep. Okay. And again, feel free to type some more questions in. You know, we'll stay on as long as we can to get your questions answered. A couple kind of closing items for you guys to think about if you're thinking about purchasing a new Kinze planter, whether it's a 5900 or a 5670 or a 5700. Please reach out to your dealer. We utilize and have experienced Kinze events here at Kinze. The dealer can bring you in, or you can come in by yourself, however, and be more than happy to sit down with you, dive into these very deep, get your hands on some of the options, attachments, components, and hopefully if the weather's good enough, we'll take you to the field and give you the opportunity to see these guys run, see them run in the field, give you an opportunity to plant with it yourself and truly get a feel for what these planters can do for you and just get a feel for the general operation. Spend a lot of time talking about Blue Vantage, get you guys your feet wet on there. I'd be remiss to not talk about other YouTube videos. We've had a couple other webinars talking more about fertilizer and all those type of things. So a lot of educational pieces out there, but by all means, we'll be able to love to have you here at in Williamsburg and walk through these planters in depth in person as well. So
A few more questions came in.
okay.
Is the folded turning radius better on the 5900 compared to the 5700? My 5700 12-inch 36 row is hard to get into fields and some road turns. You have to turn extremely wide to make it a lot of times.
Sure. So 5700 compared to 5900, the turning radius is less. And a couple things factor into that. If you look at 5700, and we'll probably do a specific webinar on 5700 as well. But the 5700, that folded from row unit or tire to hitch, physically longer. Number one, it's a drawbar only on the 5700. And number two, just the way that toolbar folds, it's a little longer on front, distance from the hitch to the first rows. And part of that reason is to get our transport clearance higher on the 5700 because of the 20-inch rows and, of course, with the wheels in the front. So, yes, the 5900 is a whole shorter turning radius than the 5700, just because of overall toolbar length and folded length as well. So yes, it is shorter, having driven both of them. Specifically, the 60-foot bar 5700 is going to turn wider than a 60-foot 5900 will for sure. Yep.
Will you be able to use the hydraulic downforce system to raise the row units for road transport for improved clearance?
Currently today, no. Of course, we utilize 150 pounds of uplift, of course, to help raise the planter. And if you look at our 5670 toolbar with the push row units, we actually have lift assist with hydraulic downforce to help take about 200 pounds of weight off that row, so they're easier to lock up. Honestly, part of the reason we don't fold it, at least not yet, a lot of that has to do with safety and the ability, if we hold the row unit up, if something would happen to the hydraulics, those row units could come down without having a mechanical lock system in there. So right now, we do not offer that or do that at this time. One thing I will talk about on the 5900 and the wing hooks on the outside of it have 4 other holes in them. You can adjust those wing hooks down, get you 4 more inches of row unit clearance on a 5900 just by adjusting those hooks on the end. So if you're needing a little more clearance, you can get about 4 more inches by adjusting the wing hooks on the wings down, and we'll of course push those row units up. But right now from the downforce side, we do not physically raise them. Nope. Nope.
Dwayne just followed up on that. Already have adjusted the wing hooks, still not enough clearance.
Gotcha. Yep. Unfortunately, Dwayne, I don't have a better solution for you to get it any farther, short of, making those hooks physically longer. But we don't have anything to get it any taller. And again, no plan right now to raise those row units up hydraulically with true depth. Yep. Yep. All right. Well, again, thank you all for coming in and spending some time with us here today to talk about 5900. Again, reach out to us if you have any questions, thoughts, concerns. If you certainly want to come to an Experience Kinze event like I talked about, reach out to your dealer. We can work with your dealer to set up a time to come in, visit with us, plant with these guys in the field. Again, we appreciate your time. Thanks very much for visiting us, and we'll see you at the next one.